Just for tonight, she said, her voice crisp as cut glass. Be my girlfriend. Marina stared at her. The mop in her hand dripped onto the marble floor, ignored. She wasn't sure if she'd heard it right. Maybe the late shift and the scent of bleach had messed with her head. But the woman in front of her wasn't joking. Isadora Villar never joked. Not with her employees. Certainly not with the cleaning staff. The CEO stood like a sculpture behind her desk, tailored navy suit, raven black hair twisted into a severe bun, not a single detail out of place. Her expression was unreadable, but something in her eyes burned too brightly to be just business. Marina had cleaned this office every night for 3 months. She'd wiped down Isadora's untouched glasses of whiskey, refold her carelessly thrown designer coats, seen her silent breakdowns captured only in tissues buried deep in the trash. But until tonight, they had never exchanged more than 4 words. "Excuse me?" Marina said finally, her voice flat, carefully measured. Isadora's hands rested lightly on the edge of her desk. Her nails gleamed a deep wine red, immaculate. "I said, I need you to be my girlfriend. For tonight. Just pretend. There's a charity gala. It's important. No questions." Marina almost laughed. "Right. And I suppose this is the part where I magically say yes, and we fall in love by dessert." Isadora's expression didn't flicker. "No," she said. "This is the part where you get 5,000 reis in cash, delivered tomorrow morning, and no one ever has to know." The silence stretched. The city lights behind Isadora cast her in sharp relief, cold and untouchable. Marina could smell the faint trace of her perfume, something floral but expensive, like a secret garden no one was allowed to enter. "Why me?" Marina asked, folding her arms. "You could hire an actress. Or bribe some influencer. Someone who wouldn't show up in worn sneakers and a janitor's badge." Isadora tilted her head. "Because they'd be obvious. And because I've seen you. You don't look at me like everyone else does." That did something strange to Marina's chest, made her heartbeat shift like it had forgotten the rhythm. She hated that Isadora Villar noticed her. It meant she couldn't pretend to be invisible anymore. "This is insane," Marina muttered. "But you're considering it." Marina scowled. She hated how well Isadora could read her. "I haven't said yes." "And yet," Isadora said, stepping around the desk, "you're still standing here." The sound of her heels echoed like a countdown as she approached. Marina resisted the instinct to step back. Isadora was close enough now that her presence was suffocating, not physically, but in that way powerful people had of filling all the space in a room. "Why the gala?" Marina asked, more to stall than out of real curiosity. Isadora's jaw tightened. "My ex-fiancé will be there. She's now engaged to a man. The board will be watching. I need to appear undamaged." Marina blinked. "So, I'm a prop." "A very convincing one," Isadora said. 1,000 thoughts collided in Marina's mind. Pride. Dignity. The absurdity of it all. But above that, the ache of curiosity. Of what it would feel like to walk beside a woman like that. To see her stripped of the armor she wore in public. To taste the danger. "Fine," Marina said at last. "But I'm not calling you baby. And I swear to God, if you try to kiss me, I won't," Isadora interrupted. But her voice had changed. Lower. Rougher. "Unless you want me to." Marina's stomach flipped. The next 3 hours moved like a dream. Isadora's personal stylist met her in a hidden floor of the building, eyes widening when she saw Marina. No one said the word project, but it was there, thick in the air. They scrubbed her clean of janitor grease, slipped her into satin and stiletto heels, pinned her hair back. The woman in the mirror wasn't her, and yet, somehow, she looked more real than ever. At 8 p.m. sharp, Isadora entered the dressing suite. She stared at Marina like she wasn't sure whether to approve or be afraid. "Don't look at anyone too long. Let me lead. And if anyone asks how we met, I'll lie like a pro," Marina said. Their car ride was silent. Tense. The city blurred past like 1,000 unopened doors. Marina didn't ask questions. Isadora didn't offer answers. But when their hands brushed briefly in the back seat, neither of them pulled away. The gala was a glass palace. All crystal chandeliers and designer gowns, with smiles so fake they sparkled. Isadora walked like she owned the place. Marina followed her lead, chin up, eyes sharp. The ex-fiancé found them near the champagne fountain. She was tall, blonde, model-thin, and clinging to a generic finance bro in a tux. Her eyes locked onto Isadora's first, then dropped to Marina. "Well," the ex said, "you certainly traded down." Marina smiled, slow and dangerous. "Funny. She said the same thing about you." Isadora's fingers found Marina's waist. For show, Marina told herself. Just for tonight. But the grip was too steady. Too real. The ex flushed. The man beside her said something awkward and ushered her away. "Thanks," Isadora said quietly. "Don't mention it," Marina replied. "Ever." But as the night wore on, as they danced once, as Isadora laughed for real at something Marina muttered, as a strand of her hair fell loose and she didn't fix it, the rules blurred. And when they got back to the car, and Marina's hand lingered just a second too long on Isadora's wrist, neither of them pretended it hadn't happened. "Just for tonight," she'd said. But nothing about this felt temporary anymore. Marina didn't sleep that night. She tried, God, she tried, but every time she closed her eyes, her mind replayed the way Isadora's fingers had lingered on her waist, how their gazes had locked for a second too long, how that entire surreal evening had felt more like a fever dream than a job. It was supposed to be nothing, a transaction, a favor disguised as theater. But when Marina had returned to her small apartment with the remnants of lipstick still clinging to her mouth and the scent of Isadora's perfume haunting her skin, she realized she'd crossed some invisible line, and she had no idea how to go back. The next day, everything was quiet. No message, no follow-up, no payment, not even a glance when Marina resumed her shift and passed Isadora's door. For a woman who ran an empire, she was skilled in disappearing. Marina told herself it was fine. Good even. The silence meant it was over. The game had ended. But the next night, when the office emptied and the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, Isadora's door was unlocked. Her silhouette stood by the window again, backlit by the city. Marina had intended to walk right past, but something in her gut stopped her. She stepped inside slowly. "You forgot to lock up," she said, voice neutral. "I didn't forget," Isadora replied without turning. Marina waited. Silence again. That unbearable tension stretched between them like elastic, waiting to snap. "About last night," Marina began. "It won't happen again," Isadora interrupted. Her tone was flat, controlled, too controlled. Marina clenched her jaw. "Didn't think it would." "Good," Isadora said, finally facing her. "We both got what we needed." "Right," Marina muttered. "I got humiliated in front of rich strangers, and you got to pretend you're emotionally functional." That flicker. A crack in Isadora's mask. "You weren't humiliated." "No." Marina took a step closer. "Then what was I? A performance piece? A symbol? Or just some charity project to make your ex jealous?" "You were necessary," Isadora said, and it sounded like the closest thing to an apology she was capable of. Marina studied her. The high collar, the tight control, the exhaustion around her eyes. "You looked at me like you wanted more," Marina said, barely above a whisper. Isadora didn't answer. She didn't have to. The tension between them was unbearable now. Marina could feel it under her skin, in the pull of her chest, the sudden shortness of breath. "You should go," Isadora said, but she didn't move. Marina stepped even closer. "Say it again." Isadora blinked. "Say what?" "That it didn't mean anything." Isadora's lips parted, but nothing came out. Marina's hand brushed her wrist again, just like in the car. Isadora didn't flinch. She only stared, as if torn between desire and self-preservation. "You think money makes you untouchable," Marina whispered. "But last night, you looked terrified, like someone who forgot how to feel." "And you think you know me?" Isadora shot back, but her voice cracked. No, Marina said. I think you don't even know yourself. Something broke then. Not loudly. Quietly. Like the gentle collapse of something long cracked. Isadora stepped back, but her eyes never left Marina's. I didn't plan for any of this, she said. I don't do mess. I don't do feelings. Too late, Marina replied. She left before she could say anything else. Before she did something stupid. Like kiss her again. The next few nights were strange. Cold. Neither woman spoke. But something had shifted. The silence wasn't empty anymore, it pulsed. It watched. It waited. On Thursday, Marina found a folded note taped inside the supply closet. It wasn't signed, but she recognized the handwriting instantly. Dinner. Friday. 9 p.m., my place. No demand. No explanation. Just an invitation. Marina should have ignored it. Burned it. Reported it. Instead, she stood outside the luxury penthouse exactly at 8:59, heart pounding like she was being hunted. Isadora answered the door barefoot, in jeans and a linen shirt, sleeves rolled up. It was the first time Marina had seen her without armor. She looked real. Human. Breakable. You came, Isadora said. Marina shrugged. Curiosity. Not compliance. Of course. The apartment was stunning, modern, brutalist, filled with shadows and silence. There was no sign of the woman who owned a skyscraper. Only quiet, carefully chosen loneliness. Isadora gestured toward the balcony. I didn't cook. I didn't expect you to. They ate sushi in silence, the night pressing in around them. Finally, Marina spoke. Why did you invite me? Because I haven't stopped thinking about you. The confession landed like thunder. Marina tried to stay still, to keep her breathing even, but her pulse betrayed her. You're not built for this, she said. You don't know how to let people close. I know, Isadora said, but I want to try. Marina stared at her. You don't get to want unless you're willing to give. Then tell me what to give. The truth, Marina said. Start there. Isadora closed her eyes. My ex left me because I stopped loving her, or maybe because I never did. I kept her like I keep everything else, pristine, polished, distant. But she saw right through it. Said I was hollow. Said no one would ever love me if I didn't learn how to bleed. Did you? No, Isadora whispered. Until you. The world tilted. Marina reached across the table, took her hand. You don't know what this is, she said. But you feel it too, don't you? Isadora nodded once. Yes. And it terrifies me. Marina leaned in slowly, letting the silence fill the space between them like static. Good, she whispered. Then maybe we're starting to feel the same thing. Isadora's lips parted. But the kiss didn't come. Not yet. Instead, the moment held. Fragile. Electric. Like the breath before lightning. They weren't lovers. Not yet. But the pull was undeniable now. Something had started. Something that couldn't be undone. The first time Marina kissed Isadora, it wasn't planned. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't anything like the stories. It happened in a hallway on a Tuesday, under flickering office lights that made everything look more desperate than beautiful. And maybe that was the point. Isadora had called her in late again. No pretext this time. No gala. No agenda. Just a vague request for help with a document, which Marina knew was bullshit the second she entered the room. The door had barely clicked shut behind her when Isadora looked up from her desk with that familiar tension in her jaw, the one that always appeared when she was pretending she wasn't feeling something. Marina had leaned against the door frame, arms crossed, refusing to step closer. If you want to see me, she said, you don't need to invent excuses. Isadora's gaze didn't waver. You came anyway. Marina hated how easily Isadora disarmed her. With 2 words, she could unravel all of Marina's careful walls. But tonight, something was different. Hey, if you're enjoying this story, go ahead and drop a like to help us grow even more. And let me know in the comments, on a scale from 0 to 10, what score would you give this story so far? Your feedback makes all the difference. The air between them felt charged, as if the weeks of silence and slow-burn stares had reached a boiling point neither of them could deny. Marina stepped forward. One step, then another. Are you going to keep calling me here after hours? She asked, her voice low. Or are you finally going to admit you don't want me to leave? Isadora stood.
Slowly.
Like a lion unfolding from stillness. I don't know what I want, she said, but her voice trembled. Marina was inches away now. That's not true. You make it hard to breathe, Isadora whispered. Good, Marina replied. Then maybe you're finally alive. And just like that, she kissed her. It wasn't soft. It wasn't tentative. It was heat and confusion and months of tension poured into one impossible second. Isadora melted into her with a hunger Marina didn't expect. Her hands found Marina's waist, her back, her hair. Like she'd been waiting to be touched for years and had finally been given permission. They broke apart only when breath failed them. Isadora looked dazed. Marina pressed her forehead to hers. Now what? She asked. Isadora's silence was deafening. Her fingers trembled against Marina's shirt. I don't know how to do this, she admitted. Then let me teach you, Marina said. But you have to let me in. The next few weeks became a secret rhythm. A new language. Late nights in locked offices. Brushed fingers in elevators. A glance held too long during staff meetings. Isadora never called it what it was. She didn't use words like relationship or us. But she showed up. Again and again. Always with that same quiet hunger in her eyes, like Marina was the only thing grounding her in a world that expected her to be steel. Marina didn't push. She didn't ask for more than what Isadora could give. But the nights grew longer. The silences heavier. And one evening, in the small break room 2 floors below Isadora's office, the balance shifted. Marina had gone there for coffee. She wasn't expecting Isadora to follow her. But suddenly she was there. In jeans and a trench coat, hair loose around her face, eyes darker than usual. I needed to see you, Isadora said. Marina exhaled. You see me every night. Not like this. Isadora crossed the room in 2 strides. She pinned Marina against the counter, her breath unsteady. I don't want to hide anymore. Then stop, Marina said. Stop pretending this is just a phase. Stop looking at me like you're afraid of what happens if you care. I am afraid. So am I, Marina whispered. But I'm still here. Isadora kissed her again, this time with something new, desperation laced with softness. Like she was trying to memorize Marina's mouth, her breath, the way she tasted. When they pulled apart, Isadora didn't move. Come home with me, she said. Tonight. Marina hesitated. Is this about control? Or is this about wanting me? Isadora met her gaze. I don't know how to separate the two. Marina gave a half smile. Then let me help you with that too. That night was nothing like the first. No pretending. No performance. Just 2 women trying to learn the shape of each other's silence. They didn't talk much. Words felt useless. There was only skin and breath and the slow unraveling of years of loneliness. Afterward, Marina lay in Isadora's bed, the city lights casting shadows across her bare shoulder. Isadora sat beside her, legs drawn up, silent. Say something, Marina murmured. I don't want this to end, Isadora said. Then don't let it. It's not that simple. It is, Marina said. You just don't want to admit that happiness might actually be an option. Isadora reached out, tracing a line down Marina's arm. I've never done this before. Been with a woman?
No, she said.
Let myself fall. Marina turned to face her. You're not falling alone. The next morning, Marina left before sunrise.
She didn't say goodbye. She didn't need to.
But as she closed the door behind her, she knew something had changed. This wasn't a game anymore. This wasn't just for tonight. It hadn't been for a while now. And deep down, she suspected Isadora knew it too. Still, the uncertainty lingered. The fear. The walls Isadora had built her whole life weren't going to crumble in a week. Marina was patient, but she wasn't invincible. She needed more than kisses in the dark. She needed to know she mattered in the daylight too. So when the next day came and Isadora didn't text, didn't call, didn't look at her when they passed in the hallway, it stung. Marina kept her head high, kept moving, but the ache in her chest refused to go away. She thought about walking away, about erasing everything before it got worse. But then, on Friday night, a single message appeared on her phone. No name. Just one sentence. If I tell you I miss you, will you hate me or come over? Marina stared at it for a long time. Then she typed back. Say it to my face. Isadora didn't say it. She didn't say, I miss you, when Marina arrived. She didn't open the door with a soft expression or arms that welcomed. She opened it like a woman trying not to regret hitting send. Marina stepped inside without a word. She didn't ask to be invited, didn't demand an explanation. She just walked past her, eyes scanning the apartment that already felt familiar in ways that scared her. Isadora shut the door, then leaned against it like she needed it to keep herself upright. You came, she said. You asked me to. I thought maybe you'd ignore it. I almost did. Isadora nodded, a bitter smile playing at her lips. Then why are you here? Marina turned to her slowly. Because I'm not ready to give up on this. But I'm not going to chase someone who disappears every time it gets hard. Isadora closed her eyes for a second, exhaled slowly. It's not about you. It always is, Marina snapped. When you shut down, when you pretend nothing happened between us, when you kiss me like I'm oxygen and then pretend I'm invisible the next day, that's not just you processing. That's you pushing me away. Because I'm scared. Of what? Of needing you. The silence stretched between them, thick and raw. Then Marina walked toward her, slow and deliberate. I already know you do. Isadora didn't resist when Marina touched her. Her fingers slid up her arm, soft, grounding. Then stop punishing yourself for it, Marina whispered. I don't want perfect. I just want real. They stood like that for a long time, breathing each other in, letting the storm between them settle. Eventually, Isadora moved first. She stepped into Marina's arms like she'd been waiting for permission. They didn't kiss. Not this time. It wasn't about hunger. It was about anchoring, about presence, about choosing. Marina stayed the night again. But this time, they didn't rush. They talked. Or rather, Marina asked and Isadora hesitated before giving her pieces. Pieces of childhood, of pressure, of perfectionism so deeply ingrained it had become armor she couldn't take off even when it hurt. Marina listened. She didn't try to fix her, just listened. And by morning something had shifted. It was fragile, delicate, but it was there. A beginning, a possibility. That afternoon, Marina returned to her routine. She didn't hear from Isadora for 2 days, but this time, it didn't feel like silence. It felt like space, breathing room, growth. Until Wednesday, when she walked into the break room to grab her phone and saw her. Clara. She didn't have to guess. She didn't need an introduction. She just knew. Everything about the woman screamed money, confidence, and bitterness. The blonde hair, the polished heels, the perfect posture that said, I was raised to own rooms like this. She was sipping coffee like it was wine. And she turned to Marina with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. You must be Marina, she said. Marina didn't blink. And you're the ex. Clara. Right. You left her, didn't you? She let me go. Same difference. Clara took a step closer. You're not what I expected. Good. You're not her type. No one is. That's the problem. Clara laughed, sharp and humorless. She never really lets anyone in, you know. Not completely. Not even me. That why you ran? That, and because I was tired of being alone while in a relationship. Marina folded her arms. So now what? You came to warn me. I came to see if she'd changed. And Clara's smile faded. She looked at me like she wanted to. But she didn't. Clara didn't respond. And Marina knew. Knew Isadora hadn't taken the bait, hadn't tried to undo what they were building. But the jealousy still sat in her throat like poison. When Clara finally walked out, Marina didn't move for a long time. Later that night, she went to Isadora's office. She didn't knock, just walked in. Isadora looked up surprised, then tense. "You saw her," she said. Marina nodded. "Did you invite her?"
No.
She showed up, unannounced. "Did you want her to?" "No," Marina watched her closely. "But part of you still needs her to see you." Isadora hesitated.
Yes.
"I wanted her to see that I'm not broken anymore. And using me for that again doesn't scare you?" "That's not what I'm doing." "Then tell me why I feel like I'm still second." Isadora stood up, walked around the desk. "You're not second. You're first. You're the only one who ever made me feel like I could breathe." Marina's throat tightened. She hated how much she wanted to believe it. "Then prove it."
How?
"Stop hiding me.
Stop running.
Be with me when it's not convenient. Be with me when it's terrifying." "I'm trying." "Try harder." Isadora reached out, touched Marina's hand. "Don't leave." "Then don't give me reasons to." Marina didn't stay that night. She needed air. She needed space to think. But as she walked out of the building, her heart was pounding, not with fear, but with something far more dangerous.
Hope.
And hope, she knew, could destroy her faster than desire ever could. Marina didn't answer Isadora's text the next day. Not because she was punishing her, but because she didn't know what she'd say that wouldn't bleed. She needed time to think, to breathe without tasting the echo of Clara's words. Words that lodged themselves like splinters, sharp and quiet. "You're not her type. She never really lets anyone in. She looked at me like she wanted to." Marina hated how much they echoed inside her, even when she knew better. Knew what Isadora had said, what she'd done. But feelings weren't logical, and wounds didn't care about good intentions. She stayed away for 2 nights. Didn't go near the top floor. Kept her head down. She didn't think Isadora would come looking for her, because Isadora wasn't built to chase. But on the 3rd night, Marina returned from the janitor's closet to find Isadora sitting on the floor by the emergency stairs. Hair down. No makeup. Knees pulled to her chest like a child. She looked up when Marina froze. "You said I needed to try harder," Isadora said. "So here I am." Marina stared. "In a stairwell?" "It's the only place you don't run from me." Marina approached slowly. She sat 2 steps above her, arms on her knees. "I'm not running. I'm thinking. You've been quiet for 3 days. And you've been silent for years." That landed harder than she meant it to, but Isadora didn't flinch. "I don't want to be anymore." Marina let the words settle. Then, "Clara knew exactly what to say to break me." "She knows how I used to be," Isadora said. "Not who I am with you." "Then show me who that is. Not just in private. Not just at night." "I'm trying," Isadora repeated. "But it's hard. I built my whole world on control. I can't just let that fall overnight." Marina turned to her. "You don't have to fall. You just have to let me stand beside you." Something in Isadora's throat moved. She looked up, eyes glassy but unbroken. "Then stand with me tomorrow night." "Where?" "My apartment. Dinner. No secrets. No walls." Marina hesitated. "If this is another reset, it's not. Then I'll be there." Isadora didn't smile. But her hand reached up, slid over Marina's knee, and held. And it meant more than any apology. The next night, Marina arrived in worn jeans and a sweater that smelled like laundry detergent. She didn't dress up. She didn't pretend. She wanted to be herself, or not come at all. Isadora opened the door barefoot again. But this time, she looked nervous.
Real.
She had cooked. Or at least tried. The pasta was slightly overdone, the sauce too thick. Marina didn't care. They ate at the kitchen counter, knees brushing. Isadora poured wine. Marina poured truth. "Why did you choose me that night?" she asked finally. "Why not someone easier?" "Because you looked at me like I was human," Isadora said. "Everyone else looks at me like I'm a product. Or a paycheck. But you looked like you wanted to fight me and kiss me in the same breath. And I needed that." I needed to feel real. Marina swallowed. You are real. That's the problem.
Why?
Because real people can hurt you. Isadora's eyes darkened. Have I? Not intentionally.
But yes.
Then let me fix it. Start by choosing me out loud. Isadora stood.
Cross the space between them.
Stayed a night. Staying doesn't fix things.
No.
But maybe waking up beside each other does. Marina nodded. Quietly. Then followed her to the bedroom.
It was slower this time.
Not new, not casual, intimate. Familiar. Isadora's body curved into hers like it had been waiting. Marina kissed her like she meant it because she did. And afterward, when they lay tangled in silence, Isadora whispered, I used to think control made me strong. But now I think letting go might be stronger. You don't have to let go of everything, Marina murmured. Just of who you were before me. Isadora turned her face into Marina's neck. Stay until morning. I'll stay until you stop pretending I'm temporary. Then don't ever leave. It should have been enough. That moment. That promise. But real life doesn't freeze for happiness. The next week brought reality back in waves. Isadora's meetings. Marina's double shifts. The apartment remained their refuge, but work stayed their battlefield. No one knew. No one could. And maybe that secrecy started to wear them down more than they admitted. On Thursday, it happened. Marina was cleaning the third floor when she heard two managers talking near the vending machines. Laughing. Whispering. Heard Villars seeing someone. Doubt it. That woman has ice in her blood. Still. She's been different. Almost human. You think it's true? Who knows? Probably some rebound. She's not the type to fall for anyone who can't match her. Marina felt it like a slap. She didn't cry, but her stomach twisted. She walked away before they saw her. That night, when Isadora opened the door, Marina didn't smile. We need to talk, she said. Isadora stepped aside. Come in. No, Marina said.
Here.
In the hallway, where anyone can see us. Marina, are you ashamed of me?
What? No.
Never. Then why does it feel like you're only mine behind closed doors? Isadora hesitated. Because I don't know how to be soft when the world is watching. But you know how to be silent, and invisible, and distant. That's not what I want. Then stop acting like you're doing me a favor by loving me in the dark. Isadora reached for her hand. Come inside. Marina stepped back. Not until you decide if this is real to you. Not until you decide if I'm someone you're willing to be seen with in the light. And for the first time, Isadora had no answer. Isadora didn't sleep that night. She sat in her apartment in the dark, fully dressed, the wine in her glass untouched. The words Marina had said echoed like thunder in her ears. Not until you decide if I'm someone you're willing to be seen with in the light. She hadn't answered. Because she hadn't known what to say. Because she'd spent years building her life on silence, control, calculation, and Marina didn't fit in that world. Marina was everything the world didn't expect Isadora to want.
Loud. Proud.
Grounded in things money couldn't buy. She was stubborn.
Brilliant.
And slowly, dangerously, essential. And Isadora was going to lose her. That thought landed hard. Not like a threat. Like a certainty. Because you can't keep a woman like Marina in the shadows. Not for long. The next morning, Isadora watched the building's cameras.
Marina arrived.
Head up, eyes forward, face unreadable. She didn't look toward the elevator cameras. She didn't pause outside Isadora's floor like she sometimes did. She was gone in seconds, and it felt final. Isadora closed the feed and pressed her hands to her face. Then she picked up her phone. Then set it down. Again. Again. Until eventually she typed a message. Then deleted it. Again. That night, the apartment was empty. Marina didn't show up. Isadora waited until 3 a.m. No knock. No text. Just the aching reminder that for the first time since that night in the car, she was truly alone. Marina, meanwhile, sat in her own room. Her legs curled under her, hair tied up, the ceiling fan creaking overhead. Her phone was on silent, face down. She couldn't look at it, couldn't look at the unread messages, because she knew what was in them. Apologies that didn't fix anything. Promises that came with limits. Words Isadora thought would be enough. But they weren't. Not anymore. Marina had spent her life fighting to be seen. She'd clawed her way through shame, through poverty, through expectations designed to crush women like her. She had survived everything without anyone holding her hand. And now, she wasn't about to accept half-love from someone too afraid to hold her in daylight. The weekend passed in silence. Monday came. Rain poured over the city, like something biblical. Marina worked the late shift, mopping the hallways in near silence. Around midnight, she found the envelope. No name, just her initials on the front in Isadora's sharp handwriting. Inside, a single card. One sentence. Tuesday, 7 p.m., wear something that makes you feel powerful. Don't ask. Just come. Marina stared at the note, then folded it, tucked it into her pocket. Didn't decide. Not yet. Tuesday arrived like a dare. The whole day Marina fought the urge to say no. But when 6:40 struck, she was already dressed. Black slacks, fitted blouse, gold earrings, hair down. Not for Isadora. For herself. At 7:02, she knocked. The door opened. But it wasn't the apartment. It was Isadora's office. Darkened. Empty, except for the two of them. Candles lit the corners. Music, soft jazz, played from a speaker. And in the middle of the room, a table set for two. Marina stood in the doorway, frozen. "What is this?" she asked. "You said you wanted to be seen," Isadora replied from across the room. She stepped forward slowly. "So, I brought you to the only place that's ever defined me. The place I built with everything I had. And I'm telling you here, with no one else watching, this is real.
You. Me.
Whatever this is. It's not temporary. Not casual. I'm not hiding anymore." Marina's voice caught in her throat. "You're doing this in your office. It's the most sacred thing I have. Not your home. You're already in my home. But now, I'm letting you in my world." Isadora reached for her hand. Marina let her. "Sit with me."
Marina did. Slowly. Carefully.
Isadora poured wine. Not fancy. Simple.
Red.
Marina sipped. "Did you cook?" "God, no." Marina laughed just once.
Softly.
The tension broke just a little. "So why now?" she asked. "What changed?" Isadora looked down at the table. "I realized I'm not scared of being seen. I'm scared of being seen and not being enough." Marina stared at her. "You're enough. You say that now. And I'll keep saying it until you believe it, even if I fall short? Especially then." The silence between them thickened, but not with avoidance. With gravity. Isadora stood, moved around the table, sat beside her instead of across. "I need you to know something," she said. "When Clara showed up, a part of me felt relief. Not because I wanted her, but because I saw the difference. I saw what it felt like to be in love with the idea of someone, and what it feels like to want someone real." Marina's throat tightened. "And who am I to you? You're not the idea. You're the person. You terrify me because you're real. You don't need me. You choose me. And that's scarier than anything. So stop being afraid." "I'm trying." Marina leaned in. "Try harder. With me." Isadora kissed her. Not with hunger. With reverence. Like she was learning a new language with her mouth. Like she was terrified of saying the wrong thing, but needed to speak anyway. They didn't make it home. The floor became a bed. The candles stayed lit. And when Isadora whispered stay this time, she meant in more ways than one. In the morning, the office was quiet. Marina dressed slowly, still barefooted, hair tangled. She looked around the room. Her mop still leaned against the far wall. Her badge still hung from her belt loop. She hadn't stopped being who she was. But maybe, just maybe, she'd stopped feeling like she didn't belong. Isadora stood beside her, silent. Marina turned to her. "You're not going to lose me because of who you are," she said. But you might if you keep pretending I'm not already here. Then I won't pretend anymore. Not even when it's uncomfortable? Not even when it burns. Marina reached for her hand, then let it burn. And maybe that's how something finally begins, when you stop putting out every fire and start letting the right ones grow. The shift was subtle at first. They no longer waited until the building was empty to be alone together. Isadora didn't flinch when Marina showed up on her floor early. She didn't hide when the cleaning crew passed by and saw Marina curled on the office couch, book in hand, coffee steaming beside her. But still, there were limits. Invisible ones. Isadora wasn't holding her hand in hallways. She wasn't calling her during the day. There were no good morning texts. No casual invitations. Everything between them lived in the silence between schedules. Marina tried not to notice. Tried to focus on what was growing instead of what was still missing. But it was hard. Especially when the rest of the world kept reminding her she didn't belong. Like when she walked into the company's private gym to drop off a maintenance request and heard two assistants whispering near the water cooler. Is that the janitor? I thought she was just a temp. She's been hanging around the top floor lately. Must be sleeping with someone. Marina didn't react. Just dropped off the form and walked out. But later, when she stood in Isadora's kitchen, she was quieter than usual. Isadora noticed. You're tense. I'm fine. You're not. It doesn't matter. If it's about me, it does. Marina turned to her. I'm used to people looking at me like I don't belong. But I didn't think I'd feel that way around you. Isadora flinched. You don't think you belong with me? I think you don't know how to let me belong. Silence. Then, I'm trying. You keep saying that, because it's true. Then prove it.
How?
Introduce me to someone. Who? Anyone. Let someone in your life see us together. Isadora looked away. I'm not ready. Then maybe you're not ready for me. Marina walked out before she could change her mind. That night, Isadora didn't sleep. She sat at her desk staring at the glowing skyline, wondering how someone could feel so in love and so completely inadequate at the same time. The next morning, she messaged her sister. Lunch?
Today.
Your place. It had been months since they'd spoken. Their relationship had always been strained, one rooted in obligation and rivalry. But now, Isadora needed a mirror. A challenge. Someone who wouldn't let her hide. That afternoon, over salad and silent tension, Isadora dropped the sentence like a bomb. I'm seeing someone. Her sister raised an eyebrow. Does he have a name? She does. That silenced the room. Then, are you serious? Completely. You've never introduced anyone before. I know. So why now? Isadora hesitated. Because I'm terrified I'll lose her. Her sister studied her. Then don't. The next evening, Marina arrived at Isadora's apartment expecting a quiet night. Instead, she found 2 plates set, wine open, a jacket slung over a third chair. You invited someone? Marina asked carefully. Yes. Who? My sister. Marina blinked. You have a sister? I don't talk about her, but I want you to meet her. Why? Because I need you to know I'm not hiding anymore. The doorbell rang before Marina could reply. The woman who entered looked nothing like Isadora, except in the eyes. She was softer, louder, looser. So, you're the mysterious Marina, she said, shaking her hand. Finally. I was starting to think she made you up. Marina laughed awkwardly. I'm very real. Good. She needs real. Dinner was strange. Tense. Funny. Honest. The sister asked too many questions. Isadora answered too few. But by the end, something had softened. Marina caught Isadora's hand under the table, and this time, she didn't let go. When the door closed and they were alone again, Isadora leaned her forehead against Marina's shoulder. Was that terrible? No, Marina whispered. It was exactly what I needed. I still have a long way to go. I know, but you're walking it. That's all I ask. Isadora cupped her face gently. What do you need from me next? Marina hesitated. Then time, but not distance. Keep choosing me, even when it's messy. Always. For the first time, Marina believed her. The days that followed were different. Quiet, but with more intention. Isadora started texting during the day.
Short things.
You'd hate this meeting. Thinking about last night. Coffee later? I'll bring it. Marina replied. Sometimes with sarcasm. Sometimes with softness. Sometimes with a picture of the sunset from the roof she cleaned every Friday. And then one evening, Isadora showed up in Marina's space. Not her office. Not her apartment. But the maintenance floor. The one with metal lockers and flickering lights, and no trace of luxury. What are you doing here? Marina asked, startled. You said you were tired of always stepping into my world, Isadora said. So I came to yours. She sat beside Marina on the worn bench. Let the grime and hum surround them. Let herself be a guest instead of a host. This place is ugly, Isadora said after a while. It's real, Marina replied. And sometimes that's better. Show me, Isadora said. What? Your world. All of it. So Marina did. She showed her the staff kitchen where she ate between shifts. The staircase she cried in once after a bad call from her landlord. The rooftop where she sometimes stood at 3 a.m. just to feel like the sky belonged to her. Isadora didn't flinch, didn't judge. She listened. She learned. And when they sat together on that rooftop, wind in their hair, silence between them soft and full, Marina whispered, "Thank you." Isadora turned to her. For what? For coming down from the tower. Isadora smiled. I never wanted to stay up there alone. I just didn't know how to climb down. Marina leaned in. Then don't climb back up without me. I won't. They kissed again under the stars. Not in secret. Not in fear. But in the middle of both their worlds, where something like love could finally take root. It started with something small. It always does. A misstep. A phrase. A look. Marina had stopped by the office late again, something that had become almost routine. They didn't plan it anymore. They just found each other like gravity. Isadora had been finishing something on her laptop, her eyes flicking over financial reports, lips pursed in the way Marina secretly loved. Marina leaned against the door, watching her. You know you frown when you're focused, right? Isadora didn't look up. It's the only time I have an excuse to not smile. Charming. Necessary. Marina stepped closer. You ever think about taking a break? This is my break. No, Marina said, gently but firmly. I mean a real one. Like disappearing for a weekend.
Disconnecting.
Breathing. Isadora blinked, then slowly looked up. You want to go away with me? Marina shrugged. Why not? You hate the way I live. I don't hate it. I just want you to remember there's more. More than this. Isadora gestured at her empire. The walls, the numbers, the power. Yeah, Marina said. More than spreadsheets and silence. Where would we even go? Anywhere. A beach. A shack. A cabin with bad Wi-Fi and a gas stove. I don't do gas stoves. Marina laughed. You'd survive. Would I? The teasing faded. There was something fragile in Isadora's tone. Like she didn't know who she was without all of this. Like Marina had asked her to abandon the skin she'd lived in for years. Forget it, Marina said, too quickly. It was just a thought. You didn't mean that. Maybe I did. Then say it like you meant it. Marina's jaw tightened.
Fine.
I want you to come with me. Just once. I want to see you somewhere you're not in control. I want to know who you are without the boardroom or the heels or the pressure. I want to wake up next to you and see your hair messy and your voice groggy and not hear the sound of a phone ringing within 10 minutes. Isadora stood. Slowly. And if I can't give you that, then maybe I'm asking for someone you're not ready to be.
The air changed.
Thicker. Colder. You knew who I was when this started, Isadora said. And I thought I could live with it, Marina replied. But now that I've seen what it feels like to be chosen by you, I want more. More is dangerous. No, Marina said. More is real. You think I don't want to escape sometimes? Isadora's voice cracked, something wild under the surface. You think I don't dream about disappearing?
About sleeping in?
About breathing without checking my schedule first? Then why don't you? Because I built this life to protect myself, to stay safe, to stay untouchable. But you're not untouchable anymore. The silence after that was brutal. Isadora's breathing had changed. She looked like a woman pulled too far in too many directions. You're asking me to leave behind the only version of myself that ever kept me alive. No, Marina whispered. I'm asking you to build a new one. With me.
That broke something.
Isadora turned away. I can't. Marina stepped back like she'd been slapped. Then what are we doing? Trying, Isadora said. But maybe that's not enough for you. Marina laughed bitterly. Trying is a word people use when they don't want to say no. I haven't said no. But you haven't said yes either. Isadora turned to face her. Don't make me choose between you and my life. I'm not, Marina said. But I'm choosing.
Right now.
For me. What does that mean? Marina's voice was quiet. Steady. It means I'm going. Where? Does it matter? It matters to me. Then stop me. Isadora didn't move. And that, more than anything, told Marina what she needed to know. She walked out. The elevator ride down felt endless.
Cold.
She didn't cry. Not yet. Not until she was in her building, in her room, in the shower with the water scalding and her knees on the tile. That was where it broke. That was where she let herself fall. Because for a second, just one, she had believed in forever. And now, forever had been postponed by fear. Isadora didn't call. Not that night. Not the next. Marina expected it now. The retreat. The silence. The safety net of control snapping back into place. But on the third day, something changed. Marina opened her locker at work to find a small notebook inside. The one she had once mentioned keeping when she was younger, full of poems and secrets and things she never showed anyone. She hadn't seen it in years, had thought it lost. But here it was somehow. Inside, one of the pages had been marked. A sticky note in Isadora's handwriting. You once told me you stopped writing because no one ever read what mattered. I'm reading now. I see you. I don't know how to stop being afraid, but I want to learn. I want to try with you. Not someday.
Now. If you'll still have me.
Marina's heart stopped, then pounded, then ached. She closed the notebook, sat down hard on the bench, eyes glassy. It wasn't a grand gesture. It wasn't fireworks. But it was real. It was effort. And for the first time in days, she let herself believe again. Not because Isadora had said everything right, but because she was finally starting to show up wrong and still try. The next time Marina saw Isadora, it was raining. Not a soft drizzle, but one of those torrential downpours that made the whole city blur, like the world itself had forgotten how to stay sharp. She hadn't answered the note, hadn't sent a message. She didn't trust words yet. Not after everything they'd left unsaid for too long. But when she stepped outside the service entrance to take a break, soaked to the bone in seconds, Isadora was already there, standing with no umbrella, her coat drenched, hair sticking to her face like silk threads. You're going to catch something, Marina muttered. I don't care. What are you doing here? Waiting for you. Marina crossed her arms. You could have called. You could have answered. Silence. Then, you read it? Isadora asked. Yeah. And, you're late. Isadora nodded. I know, but I'm here now. Showing up wet and dramatic doesn't erase what happened. I'm not trying to erase anything, Isadora said. I'm trying to start where we left off. Only this time, I'm not bringing the walls with me. Marina studied her. Isadora looked ruined. By the rain, by guilt, by hope she didn't know how to carry. It made something in Marina ache. So what now? Marina asked. I don't want grand gestures. I want something that lives outside the storm. Then come with me, Isadora said. Right now. To where? I don't know.
Somewhere dry.
Somewhere honest. Marina hesitated, then sighed. Give me 15 minutes to change. If you're still here when I come back, I'll go. She turned and walked away, heart pounding. She half expected Isadora to be gone when she returned. But she wasn't. She was still there, shivering, soaked through, eyes wide and waiting. Marina stepped forward, dry hoodie pulled over her head, bag slung across her chest. Let's go, she said. They took Isadora's car, windows fogged with silence. For a while, neither of them spoke. The hum of the engine, the sound of water against glass, the tension of too many emotions trying to coexist. Finally, Marina broke the quiet. You don't get to fix this in one night. I know. You don't get to be different for a day and then disappear again. I'm not leaving. You've said that before. Then let me show you. You're not good at showing things, Isadora. I'm learning. You're late to the lesson. But I'm still trying. Marina looked at her, eyes tired. Why me, she asked. Of all the people you could have let in, why the janitor? Isadora's hands tightened on the wheel. Because you didn't flinch when you saw the worst in me. And because you never wanted my world. You just wanted me. And now I want yours too. They drove until the city faded, replaced by trees and gravel roads and the scent of wet earth. Isadora pulled into the driveway of a small wooden cabin tucked into the edge of a quiet forest. I thought you didn't do gas stoves, Marina said softly. I don't, Isadora replied. But I'm trying. Marina followed her inside. It was small, but warm. The kind of place with uneven floors and mismatched mugs and windows that opened to nothing but green. Isadora had packed food.
Clothes.
Books Marina had mentioned months ago in passing. It wasn't a fancy weekend away. It was messy.
Real. Human.
And Marina hadn't felt the scene in a long time. That night, they didn't rush. They made tea, sat on the old couch under a blanket, listened to the storm batter the roof, and let the silence hold them. You were right, Isadora said at last. About what? I was scared to be loved outside the dark. Because then it's not just about desire, it's about being enough in daylight. And I didn't know if I was. Marina turned to her. You are. You just didn't know how to let yourself be. Isadora's voice cracked. And now you're showing up in the rain. They kissed slowly,
Deeply.
like breathing each other in. Later, in bed, tangled in sheets that smelled like cedar and something faintly sweet, Isadora whispered, I don't know how to do this perfectly. I don't need perfect, Marina replied. I need present. Then I'm yours. You were always mine, Marina said. You just didn't believe you deserved it. I still don't, but I want to. Then stay here. In this. In us. The morning came with soft light and quiet laughter. They cooked together, burned the eggs, spilled coffee, kissed with flour on their faces. Isadora wore socks with holes. Marina wore her hoodie like armor. And everything felt beautifully, achingly real. They didn't solve everything. The future was still unclear. But the fear had shifted. The love had roots now. And maybe, just maybe, they were done pretending this was temporary. Back in the city, they returned hand in hand. No hiding. No separate elevators. No more waiting until no one was watching. And when Isadora held Marina's hand in the lobby for the first time in plain sight, neither of them looked away. It didn't fall apart all at once. It frayed, quietly, invisibly, like the slow unraveling of a seam no one noticed until it was too late to stop the tear. At first, everything between them felt like a new language. Shared coffee in the mornings. Marina's boots by the door of Isadora's apartment. The way Isadora stopped flinching when Marina reached for her hand, even in public. They were finding a rhythm. A messy, imperfect, beautiful rhythm. But routine, no matter how gentle, has a way of exposing the cracks we'd hoped love would hide. The first argument wasn't even about them. It was about groceries. Marina had picked up a few things from a local market, things she loved, things she thought Isadora might like. When she brought them home and unpacked them into the spotless, hyper-organized kitchen, Isadora's expression shifted. You didn't ask me first, she said. Marina blinked. Ask you? Before buying food. I have dietary stuff. Things I usually avoid. It's fruit, Isadora. Some bread. Coffee. It's unfamiliar. It's food. The tension flared, briefly but enough. I just wish you'd told me, Isadora said. I was trying to do something nice. I know. It just caught me off guard. It's not about the groceries, Marina snapped. It never is. Isadora didn't respond. She just turned away. And just like that, the first fracture was born. The second came days later, when Marina stopped by Isadora's office during a meeting and waited outside for half an hour. When the door finally opened, Isadora stepped out, eyes cold. You can't interrupt like that, she said quietly. I didn't interrupt. You were waiting.
In sight.
So, it's not the image I'm trying to maintain. Marina felt something crack in her chest. Are you ashamed of me again? That's not fair. Is it true? No, Isadora said, but her voice was too thin, too rehearsed. Marina nodded once. Got it. And that night, she didn't go home with her. That was the pattern for a while. One step forward, half a step back. Isadora still cared, deeply, visibly. But she kept trying to fold Marina into the edges of her life instead of placing her at the center of it. Marina wasn't asking to be worshipped. She just wanted to be prioritized. Not scheduled between meetings or after emails. Not only kissed when the door was closed. One night, they lay in bed, backs to each other, the silence heavier than anything they'd said. Are we okay? Isadora asked finally. Marina didn't answer at first. Then, I don't want to lose you. You won't. I already feel like I am. Isadora turned toward her. I don't know how to do this right. Then stop trying to do it right. Just do it real. I don't know what that means. It means let me in when it's hard. Not just when it's beautiful. The next day, Marina didn't text. Didn't show up at the office. Isadora panicked. She called once.
Twice.
Nothing. It wasn't until late that night that she found Marina on the rooftop of her building, sitting against the wall, hoodie pulled over her head, staring out at the city, like she was somewhere else entirely. You disappeared, Isadora said softly. You've been disappearing slowly for weeks, Marina replied. I needed a day to remember who I was without you. And did you?
Yes.
And it scared me how easy it was. Isadora sat beside her. Are you leaving? I don't want to. But I also don't want to shrink every time you forget I exist outside your bubble. I don't forget. You avoid. Because I'm scared. So am I. Then let's be scared together. We are scared together. The problem is we're not brave at the same time. The silence that followed wasn't comfortable, but it was honest.
Raw.
Needed. I love you, Isadora said suddenly. It was the first time she'd said it out loud. No soft metaphors. No hints. Just the words. 3 of them. Unapologetic. Whole. Marina's breath caught. Don't say that just because you think it'll fix this. I'm saying it because it's been true for a long time. I just didn't know how to survive saying it out loud. Marina turned toward her. Then say it again. I love you. One more time. I love you. Marina closed her eyes. Then open them. Then fight for me. Not with flowers or dinners or sex. Fight for me with consistency. With presence. With showing up even when it's inconvenient. I will. If you break this again, I don't know if I'll come back. I won't. You might. Then I'll find you. In the rain. In the dark. In every place you run to when I mess up. I'll keep showing up until I get it right. You're not there yet, but I'm closer. Marina leaned her head on Isadora's shoulder. Don't let me carry this alone. I won't. They stayed there a long time. No kissing. No touching. Just breathing. And maybe that was the bravest thing either of them had done. It was supposed to be a good day. Nothing extravagant. Just quiet. A small corner cafe Marina had mentioned weeks ago. A table by the window. 2 hours carved out between meetings and reports. It wasn't grand, but it was real. It was theirs. Isadora arrived early. Nervous. Hair down for once. No heels. Just jeans and a white shirt tucked in loosely, like she was trying to be soft without saying the word. She looked out of place, and yet more herself than ever. Marina arrived 10 minutes late, breathless and beautiful in a way that didn't ask for attention. She sat across from Isadora, eyes searching. "You're here," she said. "You're surprised?" "A little." "I said I'd try harder. And I'm trying to believe you."
The coffee came.
Conversation stumbled. Not because they didn't have things to say, but because the things that mattered were heavy, still waiting beneath the surface. Marina stirred her drink absently. "You know this doesn't fix everything." "I know. And saying I love you doesn't undo the times you made me feel invisible." "I don't expect it to."
Good.
Isadora looked at her. Really looked. "But I'm not going to pretend I didn't say it." Marina's hand stilled. "Say it now then." "I love you." "Then act like it when it's inconvenient." "I'm here." "And what happens when the next meeting comes?" "When someone raises an eyebrow. When your world demands that I shrink again to fit into it. I'll choose you." "You've said that before. And this time, I'll prove it."
How?
"By asking you to move in with me." Marina blinked.
Slowly.
"What?" "I'm serious. Isadora, I'm not saying now. Or tomorrow. I'm saying I want a future with you. And I want to build it starting now." That's a big step. So is love. And what happens when your life swallows you again? You won't let it. That's not my job. I know. Then why now? Because I've already imagined waking up without you, and it felt like forgetting how to breathe. Marina was quiet. The cafe buzzed softly around them, but their table felt frozen in something heavier. "Let me think about it," she said. "Take all the time you need." But Marina didn't answer her texts for the next 2 days. Not because she was angry, but because she was afraid. Not of loving Isadora, but of what that love required. Of how much of herself she'd already given, and how close she was to giving the rest. On the 3rd day, Isadora found her outside the same supply closet where all of this began. Marina was sitting on the floor, back against the wall, arms around her knees. "You remember the night you asked me to pretend to be your girlfriend?" she asked without looking up. "Of course." "I said yes because I thought it would mean nothing. I didn't know it would ruin me." Isadora sat beside her. "I didn't know it would save me." Marina looked at her then. "You don't need saving. Neither do you. But I need space to breathe." "Then breathe with me, not around me." "You say beautiful things, Isadora. But you don't always know what they mean." "Then teach me." "That's the thing. I don't want to teach. I want to build. Together. Or not at all." "Then let's build it. Slowly. Slow is fine. Honestly. Always. And without making me a part of your image." Isadora reached for her hand. "You're not part of my image. You're part of me." Marina's voice broke. "That's the scariest thing anyone's ever said to me. It's the truest thing I've ever said to anyone." They didn't kiss. Not right away. They just held hands, their foreheads leaning together, breaths mingling like promises. That night, Marina didn't go home. She didn't move in either. But she stayed. They cooked together, badly. They argued over how to fold towels. They kissed against the kitchen counter, laughing between bites of burnt toast. And when they lay in bed later, Isadora whispered, "I know I'm not easy." Marina replied, "You don't have to be. You just have to be with me." And for the first time, that felt possible. Real. Earned. The next morning, Isadora woke to Marina already dressed, standing by the window. "Hey," she said sleepily. "Hey. Everything okay?" "Yeah," Marina said. "I was just thinking." "About what?" "About saying yes. To moving in? To all of it." Isadora sat up. "Are you sure?"
No.
"But I'm willing to try." "If you are." "I am." "Then let's try. One drawer at a time. One key at a time. One moment at a time." Isadora stood, walked toward her, took her hands. "I've never done this before. You're doing it now. Will you stay?" Only if we both do. And Isadora, for once, didn't hesitate. I'm staying. And maybe this wasn't the finish line. Maybe it was just another fragile, beautiful beginning. But for the first time since that night, just for tonight wasn't enough. Now they were learning how to build a forever. Living together didn't start with a moving truck. It started with a toothbrush, then a hoodie, then a drawer. Then Marina's favorite mug appearing beside Isadora's expensive espresso machine, like it had always belonged. There were no declarations. No dates circled on calendars. Just the slow accumulation of presents, soft, subtle, steady. And it was good. Most days. Mornings became shared rituals. Marina hated the news, so Isadora stopped playing it. Isadora didn't like clutter, so Marina learned to clean as she went. They didn't change each other. They adjusted. They adapted. But even love with roots deep in truth can bend under pressure. And one night it did. Isadora had a bad day. The kind that wrapped around her throat and pulled tight. Back-to-back meetings. A miscalculated loss. A board member who questioned her vision in front of the team. She came home with her jaw locked and her chest heavy. Marina was in the kitchen, dancing barefoot to music that didn't match her mood. She smiled when Isadora walked in, arms still swaying, unaware. "You're home early." "Yeah," Isadora said, setting her bag down. "That's rare." "I know." Marina turned the music down just a little. "Everything okay?" "It's fine." "You don't look fine." "I said it's fine." Marina paused. "Okay. Just don't do that thing." "What thing?" "The fixing thing." Marina blinked. "I wasn't fixing." "You always are. With your jokes. You're light. Like you're trying to chase away the dark before I've had time to sit with it." Marina stepped back, quietly. "Sorry. I didn't mean—" "No, I get it," Marina said, voice low. "You're overwhelmed. I'll give you space." She left the room without another word. And something about the way she walked away felt different. Heavier. Final. Isadora didn't follow. Not right away. She sat on the couch, head in her hands, heart pounding with regret. She couldn't yet speak. It took an hour. But eventually, she knocked on the door to their bedroom. Marina was sitting on the edge of the bed, hoodie half-zipped, eyes tired. "Hey," Isadora said. "Hey. I was awful. You were hurting." "That doesn't excuse it." "No," Marina agreed. "But it explains it." Isadora walked in, slow, uncertain. "You shouldn't have to dim your light for me." "I wasn't trying to be light. I was just trying to share the space. To soften it. For you. And I made you feel like you didn't belong in it." Marina didn't respond. Isadora knelt in front of her. "I've spent so much of my life controlling every variable, every environment. And now I have you. And I don't want to control you. But sometimes I don't know how not to." "You don't have to be perfect around me," Marina said. "But I won't stay in a place where I have to shrink just to avoid setting you off. Then I'll do better." "No," Marina whispered. "Don't say that unless you mean it." "I mean it. It's not about the coffee or the mess or the dancing. It's about knowing that when you're low, I can still be here. Not as your fixer. Not as your escape. But as your partner." Isadora reached for her hand. "You are my partner. Then treat me like one. Especially when you're unraveling." "I'm scared of what you'll see." "You think I haven't already seen the cracks?" "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not," Marina said. "But love that only works when you're strong isn't love. It's performance." Isadora rested her head in Marina's lap. "I don't want to perform anymore." "Then stop." They stayed like that for a long time, breathing, reconnecting, relearning. And the next morning, Isadora didn't just apologize, she showed up. She took Marina's hand at breakfast, asked about her day before checking her phone, texted during lunch not with updates, but with care.
Did you eat? Did you sleep?
"Can I bring you anything?" She was still herself, sharp, intense, driven. But now there was space, a softness she was no longer ashamed of. One night, Marina sat on the couch reading, legs across Isadora's lap. Do you ever think about how we started? She asked. Every day. I almost said no, that night, in your office. Why didn't you? Because I saw something under the surface. Something messy, hungry, lonely, and I wanted to know if it could ever be gentle. And it's learning. So am I. Do you still want forever? Only if it's with you. Marina smiled. Then let's keep building it. One drawer at a time. One morning. One fight. One forgiveness. One kiss. And when they kissed, it wasn't desperate or apologetic. It was calm.
Certain.
Home. Later that night, as they fell asleep curled into each other, Isadora whispered, I'm proud of us. Marina smiled into her collarbone. Me too. Even when it's hard, especially then. Because this, what they had now, wasn't about pretending anymore. It was about showing up. Every day. Even when it was ugly. Even when it was hard. Even when it hurt. And that, finally, was what made it love. Some things don't break loudly. They bend. They stretch. They strain under the weight of silence until, one day, they snap quietly, mid-conversation, mid-laughter, mid-moment, when no one is looking for damage. It had been 3 weeks since Marina unofficially moved in. The rhythm of cohabitation had settled in like a second skin. Grocery lists with both their handwriting. Towels left unfolded. Little arguments over nothing that ended with kisses against the fridge. But there were things they still didn't say. Things they tiptoed around. And sometimes it only took one sentence to pull it all back to the surface. It happened on a Wednesday. Isadora had invited Marina to a dinner with 2 of her oldest friends, former university classmates, sharp, successful, fluent in boardroom politics and curated lives. It was supposed to be casual, just wine and conversation. Marina wore her best dress shirt, the one Isadora had once said made her look dangerous in the best way. She even tied her hair back, something she rarely did. Isadora looked at her with pride, and something like fear. You look incredible, she whispered. Don't look so surprised, Marina teased. I've been incredible this whole time. The dinner started fine. A little stiff. A little too many inside jokes from the past. Marina smiled. Played along. Let them talk. But halfway through, one of the friends turned to her and said, with a laugh too loud to be polite, So, Marina, how does it feel to be plucked out of nowhere and dropped into all this? Silence. Isadora's smile faltered. Marina set down her fork. All what? This world.
Power.
Strategy. Corporate chaos. Must be quite the change. From what? Well, you're not exactly one of us, are you? Isadora opened her mouth, then closed it. Marina felt something tighten in her chest.
No, she said.
I guess I'm not. The rest of the meal moved forward, but something in her had shifted. The laugh she forced. The wine she didn't finish. The way she pulled her hand away when Isadora tried to touch her under the table. They walked home in silence. Isadora tried twice to speak. Marina didn't let her. When they got inside, Marina went straight to the balcony, leaving the lights off. Isadora followed. I should have said something, she whispered. You didn't. I froze. I didn't know how to handle it. You've been handling people like them your whole life. Don't lie to me. I wasn't lying. You were protecting yourself. I was trying not to escalate.
No, Isadora.
You were trying not to make it messy. Isadora stepped closer. I didn't want to embarrass you. You think I'm embarrassed by who I am? No. Then why did you let them treat me like I didn't belong at your table? Isadora didn't answer. That silence was worse than shouting. This is exactly what I was afraid of, Marina said. That loving me would only work in private. That the minute someone from your world made you choose between comfort and me, you'd pick silence. I didn't choose them. You didn't choose me either. That's not fair. It's true. Isadora's voice cracked. I was scared. You don't get to be scared every time it matters. I'm trying. Trying doesn't mean anything if you still leave me alone in rooms full of people who think I'm less. You are not less. Then act like it. I'm learning. Then learn faster. Isadora stepped forward again. I love you, Loving me isn't the problem. Respecting me out loud is. I respect you. Then defend me. Next time I will. There shouldn't have been a next time. Isadora's hands trembled. I didn't know how much it mattered to you. Then you haven't been paying attention. Marina walked past her, into the kitchen, heart racing. Isadora followed. Don't walk away from me. Don't give me reasons to. I'm not perfect. I never asked you to be. I asked you to see me. In public. In private. In every room you bring me into. Isadora's voice dropped. I saw you. All night. I just didn't know how to protect you. I don't need protection. I need partnership. Then give me another chance. Why should I? Because I'll never forgive myself if you walk out now. Then don't give me a reason to. For a moment, neither moved. Then Isadora stepped closer, slowly.
Carefully.
I didn't speak up because I've spent my whole life surviving rooms like that. And I didn't realize until tonight how much surviving cost me. And how much it cost us. Isadora nodded. I don't want to survive anymore. I want to live. With you. Then say that when it counts. Not just when we're alone. I will. Marina hesitated. Then, it's going to happen again. People will say things. Look at me like I'm not enough. Then let them look, Isadora said. But they're going to see you holding my hand. Marina exhaled, shaky. You're lucky I love you. I know. Don't make me regret it. Never. That night, they slept apart for the first time in weeks. Not out of anger, but because some cracks need space before they're sealed. In the morning, Marina found Isadora in the kitchen, making coffee with shaking hands. On the counter sat a small envelope. Inside, a note. No more hiding. From anyone. If I flinch again, remind me who I'm fighting for. Yours always. Marina looked up. Isadora looked terrified. And present. And real. She opened her arms without a word. And Marina stepped into them. Not because everything was fixed, but because this now was worth fixing. Together. There was no dramatic reconciliation. No flowers. No speeches. No cinematic kiss in the rain. Instead, it began with Marina handing Isadora a cup of coffee the next morning. Still hot. Still silent. Still full of everything neither of them had said the night before. Isadora took it with both hands.
Sipped.
Watched Marina move around the kitchen in that hoodie she always stole, her hair still damp from the shower, eyes guarded but not cold. You slept, Isadora said softly. A little. Without me. It wasn't punishment. It felt like absence. It was space. Isadora set the mug down. Can I say something without ruining it? Try. I know I hurt you. And I hate that it took a public moment to realize how private my silence still is. Marina leaned against the counter. You didn't protect me because you were afraid of them. But what hurt more was realizing you were still afraid of us. I'm not anymore. You were. Yes. Marina folded her arms. So now what? Now we build something that can't be shaken by one room full of arrogant people. You think it was just them?
No.
It was me. My fear. My hesitation. But I'm done hiding. From them. From myself. Marina walked over slowly. We keep saying we're trying. But trying doesn't keep the lights on. Trying doesn't hold your hand at midnight when you can't sleep. Trying isn't enough anymore. Then let's stop trying, Isadora said. Let's start choosing. Every day. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. They stood like that for a long time, close, breathing the same air but not quite touching. And then Marina said, let's make it official. What? Living together. Fully. No more my place and your place. Just ours. Isadora's breath caught. Are you sure? I want to wake up beside you and not wonder where I belong. Then let's do it. You're not just saying that because you feel guilty?
No.
I'm saying it because I want a life with you. One that doesn't disappear when the door closes. Marina gave a slow, shaky smile. It's going to be messy. Good. I'm done with perfect. Over the next few weeks, Everything shifted, not with fanfare but with drawers being emptied and shelves being rearranged. With Marina's books mixing with Isadora's. With a second toothbrush. A sock that went missing and was found under the couch. Dinners burned and remade. Laughter between arguments. Kisses between laundry. They fought once about a stupid lamp. Marina said it looked like something out of a dentist's office. Isadora said it was Scandinavian minimalism. Marina threatened to throw it off the balcony. They ended up buying fairy lights instead. It was the most peace either of them had ever known. Not because it was flawless, but because now, when they broke, they bent toward each other. One night, Marina sat on the floor, surrounded by old photo albums Isadora had kept hidden in a box under the bed. Childhood. College. A blurry photo of her and Clara, back when everything was still tight smiles and stiff shoulders. Isadora walked in, froze. You weren't supposed to see those. Why not? Because I hate remembering who I used to pretend to be. Marina looked up at her. You don't have to hate her. She kept you alive long enough to become this version. She was cold. She was surviving. Isadora sat beside her. I used to think no one would ever want to stay once they saw all the broken pieces. Then you never met someone like me. No, Isadora said, kissing her temple. I didn't. Another night, Marina woke up gasping from a dream she couldn't remember. Isadora pulled her in, held her tight, whispered, You're safe now. And somehow she believed it. A week later, they stood in front of a small dresser. Empty, waiting. This one's yours, Isadora said. I know you hate sharing space. I do. But you don't hate sharing with me. No, Isadora smiled. With you, it feels like expansion, not invasion. Then this one's ours. And just like that, everything that had once felt impossible was now standing still.
Real.
Breathing.
Alive.
On the last night of that month, Marina sat on the windowsill, legs pulled to her chest, looking out at the city below. You remember the first thing you ever said to me? She asked. Yes. Say it. Just for tonight. Be my girlfriend. Marina turned to her. And you remember what I didn't expect. Isadora smiled. To fall for me. And yet. Would you still ask me? Isadora stepped closer, touched her face. No, why not? Because I'm not asking you to pretend anymore. I'm asking you to stay. For real. For good. Marina leaned in. Ask me again anyway. Be mine, Isadora whispered. Not for tonight. For everything. I already am, Marina whispered back. But it's good to hear you say it. They kissed. No urgency. Just truth. Just yes. Just home. There was no ceremony. No official announcement. No rings, no labels, no audience. But somewhere between the quiet mornings and the late-night arguments, between the burnt dinners and whispered apologies, Marina and Isadora built a life. Not the kind you write about in perfect words, but the kind that makes silence feel like safety. Marina kept her job, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Because it kept her grounded. Because she liked the rhythm of her world outside Isadora's. And Isadora, for once, didn't try to change that. She started coming home earlier. Not always. Not every day. But more often than before. She left her phone in another room during dinner. She took weekends off. She asked questions. She listened. They weren't perfect. Some mornings they barely spoke. Some nights, one of them would sleep on the couch. But they always came back. Always chose again. The love wasn't loud, but it was constant. The kind that folded laundry and remembered how you take your coffee. The kind that didn't flinch when it saw your worst. One Thursday, Isadora came home holding something behind her back. Marina raised an eyebrow from the kitchen. If it's another plant, I swear, it's not a plant.
Good.
Because the last one's already dying, and I'm not ready to be a stepmother. It's a key, Isadora said. Another one? To the office. Marina blinked. You want me back there? Not as the janitor. What then? As my partner. Literally. A seat. A voice. Equal. You're serious? I'm in love with you, Isadora said. I want you next to me. Everywhere. You trust me with that? I trust you with everything. Even your precious spreadsheets? Especially those. Marina laughed, then paused. I don't know if I'm ready for that. You don't have to be. Just think about it. Okay. That night, Marina sat on the balcony, watching the lights of the city blur into a quiet hum. Isadora joined her, blanket around her shoulders, wine in hand. Do you remember how scared we used to be? Marina asked. Of course. Sometimes I still am. Me too. But it's different now. Because now we're scared together. And we stay anyway. Always. Marina looked at her. Really looked. Do you still have the dress from that gala? Isadora raised an eyebrow. The one you wore when you told me to pretend to be your girlfriend? Yes. Probably buried somewhere in the back of the closet. Good. Why? Because I want you to wear it.
Now. No.
For our anniversary. We have an anniversary? We do now. That night. Yes. You want to celebrate the day I bribed you into playing pretend? I want to celebrate the night we accidentally became real. Isadora smiled. You're unbelievable. You're lucky. I know. A year passed. Quietly. Fiercely. Marina took the office key. Slowly. On her terms. She didn't sit at the head of the table. She sat beside Isadora. As an equal. And when people looked at her like she didn't belong, Isadora didn't stay silent. She spoke. Firmly.
Proudly.
Marina's background didn't disappear, it was honored. Her voice wasn't shaped to fit the room. It helped shape the room itself. And every time Isadora reached for her hand during a tense meeting, Marina smiled like the girl who once stood with a mop and told a CEO that fairy tales weren't for women like her. But maybe she'd been wrong. Maybe some stories weren't fairy tales at all. Maybe they were hard and raw and born in fluorescent-lit offices and rain-soaked parking lots. Maybe love wasn't about being saved, but about being seen. Fully. Without armor. Without apology. One evening, after the office emptied and the sun melted into glass windows, Marina walked into Isadora's space, sat on the edge of the desk, and said, You know what the difference is between then and now? Tell me. Back then, I was pretending to be yours. Now I am. And you're mine. I've always been.
No.
You used to belong to fear. To image. To silence. But now you're mine. Isadora stood. Cross the distance. Then come home. We are home. Then come to bed. Only if you kiss me first. Isadora did.
Slow. Deep.
Familiar. And when they walked out of the office hand in hand, Marina flipped off the lights without looking back. Because they didn't need just for tonight anymore. They had forever. And they chose it again and again and again. If you enjoyed this content and want to support the channel in a special way, try clicking the thanks button below. It's the one with the heart and $sign icon. With super thanks, you can make a direct contribution to the channel, which helps me keep creating awesome videos for you.